refugees for the last 57 years. And you have no idea, ladies and gentlemen, you have no idea what the Palestinians are going through. And this is part of the controlled media that we have in the United States. This is not something that you don't see it. The media will label anyone the way they want to label him. And for some reason, they feed you the garbage and you believe it. Now, we're going to go to the phone lines. We have Benjamin on line 1. Go ahead, Benjamin.
Benjamin, this is Benjamin. Palestine, as I know, was a tent city. People migrated there from homeless situation. And terra firma, the earth is very big. Now, why would all this dangerous situation put themselves in harm's way? You know, would they have to move at the borderline of Israel when they could have gone anywhere else? You know, the point I'm making is this has been going on for 5,000 years. It should be an embarrassment as a human being for the Semites can't get along with each other. The Arabs are Semites, the Jews are Semites.
Bernard, let me see if I understood you correctly. You said Palestine was a tent city?
Yes, a tent. They lived in tents. They moved there from some homeless situation. Well, they got
Who did?
After 48, the Palestinians, after 48, after the split between Syria and Lebanon split, the Palestinians were homeless. Then they moved at the borderlines of the Jews. If the Jews don't want to be around me, they call persona non grata. I don't want to be there either.
Okay.
I would rather move to Liberia somewhere.
All right, Bernard, hold on a second. Let me clarify and correct Benjamin. Let me clarify your what you're saying here, because historically, again, you're missing the whole point. Palestine was one Palestine region. What's known as Palestine is basically from the River Jordan to the Mediterranean Sea, and from the borders of Lebanon all the way to the Sinai, where Gaza is, the end of Gaza. Now, the Palestinians were living in that land for centuries. And they did not come from 10 cities, and the West Bank was not 10 cities. The West Bank has some of the oldest cities in the world. The West Bank has Jericho, it has Nablus, it has Jerusalem. All these were populated. Now, after 1948, you see, in 1947, the United Nations has partitioned Palestine into two countries, one Jewish and one Arab. And the Palestinians ended up, that partition was 52% for the Jews, who at that time only constituted 31% of the population. And the Palestinians received 48%, and they constituted 2/3 of the population. So, of course, if someone comes to your house and tells you we are dividing this house between me and you, you're not going to go for it. So the Palestinians refused and rejected the partition plans, basically because it was unfair for the Palestinians. Now, you are saying that they moved to the border of Israel. No, they were kicked out, and they were forced to go to Jordan. They were forced to go to Lebanon. They were forced to go to Syria and the West Bank and Gaza. There's refugee camps all over the West Bank, what's known as the West Bank, which is the second half of Palestine. It's not like they moved away and they just stayed at the border. Israel has no borders. So go ahead, but you need to...
I'm a sympathizer for Palestine. I just feel as though...
I appreciate it.
You can't beat a dead horse with a stick and expect to revitalize it. Primarily, what you call these people, the Zionists and the Israelites,
right.
They have their own way of doing business, and they were there too. They deserve to exist too.
We have no problem with that. We did say, the Palestinians did say in the Oslo Agreement in 1993 that we recognize Israel, and even though these Israelis, the so-called Israelis, most of them came from Europe and have nothing to do with that land except they were Jewish. Okay? Now, and we said, we recognize them, we want to live with them, but they don't want to live with the Palestinians. They want the whole country. They want the whole pie. You know why? Because they can. They have the power to do it.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. America is backing them up. But, it's basically embarrassing as a human being Semites, brothers fighting brothers for 5,000 years. You know, there's going to be another 5,000 years. We won't be around. So it seems like the situation will proliferate.
Well, that's right.
You know, somebody needs to start getting to the table, you know,
Benjamin,
and using brands instead of bronze.
Exactly, Benjamin. That analogy is not correct, because we have not been fighting them for 5,000 years. Now, both Palestinians and Jewish people, they're both Semites. They're cousins.
Right.
See, Abraham had Isaac and Ishmael, and Isaac is the father of the Jews, and Ishmael is the father of the Arabs. And they're cousins, and they lived together. You know, if you go back through history, how Jews and Arabs